Alrighty, so we're getting ready to stand up some of these walls right here. We're going to stand up our longest outside to outside wall, because these have to go on before we put these inside to inside. So if you take a look at what we did here, we built our walls that we're going to put up first on top of our other walls. This will make it nice and easy. We have a couple things set up. We have some scrap 2x4s underneath the top plate right there, so we can get our hands underneath. We have many hands, so it'll be nice and easy. What we're going to do is we're going to pick this wall up where they are. We're going to shimmy it back a smidgen. We're going to stand it up. We're going to have 2 or 3 guys hold it, and then we're going to bring it from there down onto these blocks. Now, the first thing that we want to make sure we have done is this piece right here wants to be flush with this wall right here in order for this all to go really good. So we're going to grab a couple guys right down here. You guys come right down here. We're going to push it this way just a little bit. Keep coming, keep coming. And 1, 2, 3, easy, easy. All right, come back another 2 inches. Don't pull that thing, guys. Push it. Nice and easy. About 2 inches. Easy, easy, easy. Yep. All right. So let's get ready to lift it up. We'll do it on 3. Everybody put your hands underneath it. All right, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. All right, pull it back a smidgen. Oh, wait, a smidgen, not a 3 feet. All right, let's go ahead, and on 3, we're going to lift up 1, 2, 3 up. Easy. Hold on to it as it comes. All right. So now what we're going to do, we got a couple guys on the inside there. All right, so at this point in the video right here, while I'm walking away, you're going to see me go and grab some bracing, and I'm going to use this bracing to put 2 braces on our wall so that we can have 2 helpers hold it while we lift the wall down and set it over the anchor bolts. The bracing is important because it allows somebody to hold the wall up, being away from the wall. It gives you a lot more control of it rather than just holding onto it with your hands by the studs. It could easily slip out of your hands. When you have a brace on it, it allows you to have real good firm grip. Now, this particular project that we're working on is tricky to do because we're building it on a cement slab, so we can't take the bracing and just nail it down to a block that's nailed down to the floor, because there's really no efficient way to nail into our concrete, nor do we want to do that. So we're just going to have somebody hold it, put a couple temporary braces on the outside, and then once we stand up the rest of the walls, tie everything together and brace it up really nice. Normally on a professional job, you would not have all of these guys standing around doing nothing, holding the wall. When there's more than one person that's able to do stuff like me, they would just go and grab the bracing, get everything nailed up, pass it off. Things go much more efficient. But with the free help that we have here today, it's about all that they're good for is holding stuff, because we don't want to take anything else off. We just want to keep moving forward. I believe we're probably about 9 hours into the day at this point. You're going to see how we're going to set this down here in a little bit, now that you see how we got 2 helpers just holding this wall up. I'll grab. Oh, Bubba's by himself down there? Here. We'll make this nice and easy. We'll get a couple helpers on this. So right now what you're seeing me do is grab a scrap section, about 4 or 5 foot long, 2x4. I'm going to nail one to this end of the wall down here using 2 or 3 16D sinker nails. And then on the other side of the wall, on the far end, I'm also going to go ahead and nail the same board on. This allows us to get 1 guy on each side of the board, which is 2 guys on each end, to help lift it down and off the wall that we're sitting on and onto some blocks that are holding it just slightly above the anchor bolts. And then once we get it into position, which I'll explain probably in a few minutes, you'll see that we'll just remove those blocks and it'll slide right over those anchor bolts and down into position. Alright, so you 2 guys are actually holding the wall, and we're going to get another guy out here. We're going to just pick this thing up a little bit, and we're going to maneuver it right down and over these studs. Right there, let's go. Over here, you guys. Yep, oh, and then down, all right. So now we're going to take a look-see gander underneath and see where we're at on these parts.
You gotta go your way a lot, but that's all right. No. You gotta go your way 4 inches, yeah.
No.
About an inch.
So as I'm recording this video, obviously you guys can hear those annoying crows in the background. It's annoying for me probably as it is for you guys. And what we're currently working on this project is we just lowered it off of the wall that we built it on, and it's currently sitting on top of the anchor bolts on some blocks of wood. We're just getting it into position so that all that we have to do is remove the blocking and it will slide right down over those anchor bolts, and you'll see that happen here in a few seconds.
All right, so let's work them down. This one looks like it needs to come this way.
It's already in.
Is it in?
We're in.
There we go.
There you go. We just lifted up so you
And we got it all the way set down on our anchor bolts right now.
Alrighty, so at this point in the video here, we've already got the back wall stood up. We have a temporary brace holding it up against the back section, the ground. Kind of tough to explain without showing it to you. We're just kind of trying to keep moving and grooving here. Now we're going to stand up the front wall, which is the garage door main opening. It's a real big one, 16 feet wide. You're going to see that here in a second.
Crotch height, arm length height. 1, 2, 3. All right. And on another 3, we're going to try to go all the way up. 1, 2, 3. Keep her going. Keep her going. Push. Push. Keep going. Keep going. Push. Right. So, now we got this. We're going to put a couple of braces on.
Alright, so at this point in the video here, we're going to kind of do the same thing like we did for the back wall. We're going to get some bracing nailed up. I'm going to put the bracing right on the jacks on the inside of the rough opening. And we'll get 2 guys to hold that. After we get those put on, what you'll see is we'll take those 2 4 or 5 foot boards that we used on the back wall to help lift it down and onto those anchor bolts. We're going to grab those and nail those onto this wall as well so that we can lift this one here down onto the anchor bolts and get it good side to side, in and out. Some stuff that I didn't go over with you guys that you can't see is we know where the inside of the walls here go because we snapped those lines in the very beginning when we went ahead and squared up the slab. We snapped those lines for the inside of the wall, and that's how we know where this wall is going to go when we put on the anchor bolts. So even though the anchor bolts should be really close and good, they still might be off by just a smidgen here or there. And we have a little bit of wiggle room, so we're going to get it good on that line. Then we're going to go ahead and tighten those anchor bolts down, and then we'll be able to go ahead and stand up those 2 inside walls. And the nice part about standing up the inside walls is we can then tie everything together and really start to brace this bad boy up. And hopefully you guys will see this here in a few minutes.
All right. So, Matt, you're going to have to hold that side there. Any weights there. You're going to be on that one there. And what we're actually going to do, without really separating this thing bad, is we're going to kind of just pick it up a smidgen, and we're going to come this way about 5 inches. We're going to do that on 3. Ready? So you're going to grab right down there. This guy's got the wall. You got that? All right, 1, 2, 3. Easy. Little bit. 1, 2. Yep. About an inch more. Yep. All right. So, Bubba, you guys got it?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so we're going to bring this one here down, so let's go ahead and pick this one up. Take it over.
All right, so I'm going to save you guys a minute or so of watching the next portion here. We had an anchor bolt location in our bottom plate that was drilled in the wrong spot, or I shouldn't say in the wrong spot. It was drilled on an angle, which gave us a little bit of trouble. So we're going to fix that and start over standing up our next walls.
There's a wonder bar right there.
Nope, should I get going? What we're going to do is we're going to have to, same thing like before, we're going to get the wall to this level here. All right, once we get it to this level here, everybody's close enough, the same size at that point. Once we get it to that point there, we are going to have to go back We're gonna go back a little bit, and then I'm gonna put these blocks underneath it, and then we'll shimmy down up. We're only gonna go back about 3 inches. All right, so go ahead and grab the wall. All right, and on 3, we're gonna lift it to our handheld height. Ready, and 1, 2, 3. All right, hold there. Now, on 3, we're gonna pull it back a smidgen. All right, 1, 2, 3.
So at this part of the video right here, the guys are holding it at roughly crotch height or a relaxed arm height. And we're going to pull the wall back a smidgen, which we may or may not have already done. And I'm going to put those blocks underneath the wall so that when they stand it up, it doesn't go directly over the anchor bolts. And I just told the film person to come on over here so we could watch what's actually going on.
I'm sorry. All right. All right, you guys ready? So on 3, what we're going to do is we're going to wind up going the whole way. So 1, 2, 3. Keep going. Up, 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 up. Nice and easy. Little bit. All right, let's hold it right there. I'm going to put some braces on the inside. Look at all this room for activities in here. Little bunk beds. Triple bunk beds. Matt, why don't you grab this? Hold it at yay height. Weird, I'm always fun at every time, you know what I mean?
Seriously.
Alright, Vinny, hold this. Alright. Let's get everybody else to step back right over here. You got it good? Yeah. Alright, come on back.
Right,
Everybody right
You're wrong spot now.
Hang on. So somebody wrote Rich Henry on here, so I'm going to write sucks.
That's on video, you know.
Yeah, I know. You can't reach it though, so we're good. Alright.
I'm letting Trump 2020 across the head.
So here's what we're going to do next. We're sitting on the blocks. So Rich, we're going to get you outside, and let's get you to hold this. We're going to have Vinny Blake outside. All right, and I want you guys to tell me what it looks like on the holes, and then in here I'm going to shimmy it out to you a little bit. I'm going to grab a board.
We're about 3 inches away from
Where are you going?
So how's it look for end to end?
I can't see the inside holes. I mean, I'm
All right, so you got to get down there and look in there.
I don't put my hands anywhere.
Looks good.
Yeah, don't put your hands in there. But hang on a sec.
At this part of the video right here, what we are working on is getting it to set right over the anchor bolts, the holes that we had pre-drilled, right over the anchor bolts I should say, so that we can just remove the blocks and get the wall to go straight down on top of it. It's a little bit tricky. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes to get good. This happens to be a 30-foot wall. It is 10 feet tall, so it is rather large wall to try to get down, you know, with minimal help that knows what's going on. So hopefully you guys will see this go down here a little bit. You'll see it goes in, then out, and we got to go back in. It does happen from time to time. As long as we get it to go directly over those holes and onto those bolts, we'll be in great shape.
Keep coming. Keep coming. Right there, they were down.
All right, let's get Rich. Come out here and hold that right on that corner.
Does he come off that one now?
Yeah. Here, let me grab a little bit.
Show
Sean, can you grab me like a little 2x4 about 3 foot or something?
That's right. Just hold it for a second until we get her out there a little bit. Just cockeye a smidge. That'll work. Thanks.
Okay, we're coming down on these.
All right, hit this one down here towards me. Back here. Just give her a light kick. Hold it.
Come down here towards where Bobby is.
We got 1, 2,
All right, we got 2. We see them.
Alright, there's just 1. Alright,
There's 2. Trust me, I'm looking at them.
I see the other one now.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Curtis, they're right in the middle here.
Go outside and hit this in with something. Like a cement stick. All right, get that stick out of there.
Down.
Here it is.
All right, these top plates right here. I'm standing on the long outside wall. But remember, the long outside wall is going to go from inside to inside. I'm going to show you right here how we're flush right here, which is great. And out here I have a little bit of a gap on this, which I wanted, but I am tight right over here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drive a nail right in through here, catching into this top plate. I'm going to have Vinny hold that for me. So we're going to, this right here, that nice toenail. Now if that's in, take this right here. We're going to put 2 16s right in up here. And that's tied in nice and good. And good measure. You got that real good, right, bud? So I'm going to come right over here. And I'm going to put one. Ooh, not as limber as I used to be. Find a straight nail. All right, so we got this nice and flush right here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have Vinny go to the ground and we're going to show you how to tie in this corner post right here. All right. So, remember this stud right here, since we built the wall with this side here out, this stud is crowned in big time right in the middle, because this was one of those studs we said we'd take care of a little bit later. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a couple extra holders right up in here. And we're going to do the same thing right out here, because we got a stud. That's tough for me. I'm going to try it southpaw. All right, got a nice nail right there. Now, we're going to go to the other side. We're going to do the same thing, and eventually I'll show you how to straighten these bad boys here out. Another corner. corner, and I just cut this this cap plate right here. I cut it so it was a 1/16 of an inch shorter than this outside wall, that way it doesn't hang over. And right now we're going ahead and we're mounting it to the top of this wall. And I just hit another nail. Right around here pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing like before. I'm going to hop on up here. All right, Richard, push yours out a little bit. Pull yours in. So what I like to do is grab this right here and pull this here on in. Now you might notice that we're missing some sheeting. This wall. The reason why we left that sheeting off is so that we could later on go ahead and tie in our gable end truss with our back sheeting. Since we only have 2 foot here, we'll be able to catch another 2 foot of the gable end. It's going to sit on top of this wall right here. So this here looks mighty good. We're going to come out here, take a little bit of a look-see gander, and I'm going to nail this in a smidgen on this corner. That looks beautiful. And we're going to go in and do the same thing like we did before, right on this inside corner here. Now on this particular board, I don't have those jacks like on the other one. So what I'm going to do is take this 16 right here, put on a slight angle. I'm going to cut you up board. Same thing like we just talked about on that other wall. This one here is going to be crowned in big time, so we're going to have to straighten it on the backside wall. We'll show you how to do it in a little bit. So now that the video is ended, I had ran out of battery on my phone, so I didn't have the opportunity to show you guys how we straighten that wall. I'm going to try my best right now to show you how I straighten that outside wall and tied the corners together. I'm going to try to show you inside the house here, but since we're not by that job site anymore, it's tricky. So let's pretend that this exterior wall right here, all right, so this wall right here is our inside wall. And this wall over here is our outside wall. And our outside wall has a nice straight end stud on it because we straightened it with our sheeting. Now the stud that's right back in here, remember this is an inside wall end stud. And yes, it's straight this way, but it's not straight in and out, because this was the one that we could crown really bad. So since we crowned the wall down, the studs down, it's going to be pointing in towards the inside of the room right here. So I'm on the inside. So it's hanging in this way. So what I do is on the very outside, I'm able to straighten it by taking a 16D nail. I put it right here, and I drive this stud right here until it's flush on the outside. And maybe I have to do one here, maybe I have to do one a little bit up here, maybe I have to do another one down here, especially on that 10-foot wall. But that's what I did. And then we had somebody on the outside, and once that wall was flush on the outside, I said, good. And then I went ahead, and if the drywall wasn't here, I drove my nails through this stud and into the outside. And that tied everything together when we did it. So hopefully that makes sense.